Good morning, Sat Sri Akal, Adab. This is my 131st video. Now this video would actually be covering what? I will cover the word B-3. Why am I bringing it? Because recently there's been a hue cry on B-3 that B-3 lands are going to be converted under Rule 39A, freehold. Now I'll read those rules and regulations in a very specific manner. You know, when the government was making the CLA rules where the actual classification of these lands came, it said that under the devolution rules of 1st April 1921, any land which is in the hands of the government, presumptionally within the cantonment boundary pillars, will be subjected to these rules. It's very important. Every bungalow, I presume, in the cantonments was on a hire or under requisition. I would use the word under the House Accommodation Act with the military officer. Now, Rule 3 very clearly says that an MEO, now the MEO has come in picture, okay? He will maintain a journal land register, that's the GLR, under Schedule 1. Where is this Schedule 1? And what does this Schedule 1 says? Has anybody really tried to dig in this Schedule 1, Schedule 2 and various things which will come further on? These are in the last, if you read the book and you get the schedules, it is a format how it has to be maintained. Read that format in that book, CLA Rules 1925. It says there could be no addition, alteration for a period of how many? 4 years. Now, does this mean that there could be no sale purchase within these 4 years? No. There could be no dimensional or classification change for 4 years if a bungalow was subjected to Rule 3. Now, Rule 4 says the same MEO will maintain a register for mutation. Now, this is again under Schedule 2. Now, what does this actually register for mutation says? That the MEO will enter all those transferred in this mutation register and make these entries as per the receiving from the Tahsildar or the sub-registrar, or even as per his knowledge that A bungalow has shifted in the hands of B owner now. Even if there is a transfer of any government right in a very specific bungalow where he knows it is a government property, then he will confiscate that sale deed as well as that sale, and he will ask for a cancellation. How many sale deeds has the department cancelled since 1925? None. All they get, what they do is they start imbibing a word called, okay, you admit that this is government land. Now, very particular, even after CLA rules, the cantonment code was not abolished and a plan of the cantonment had to be kept all along under Section 266 or 267. Where is that? Now, Rule 5 said the same MEO will refabricate the entire journal land register with all the changes in it, and he will get it attested. Nowhere. Rule 6 says where that classification of lands come, A, B, C. Now, we are subjected to Rule 8 where we are called Class B lands. This shall be divided by the government in such a way. Now, B1 is actually occupied or is to be kept for the Department of Government of India. B2 is a land which is actually to be unoccupied or occupied purely by the Department of the State. What does B3 say? Is a grant or is granted to any private as per these rules or which must have been granted prior to the cantonment code, presumingly it was a grant under any rule or law. But what does that same rule B3 says? Does not prove that the land is the property of the crown. In certain cantonments, there are areas of admittedly private lands. In such circumstances, and in the exceptional cases where it is definitely known that the government of India can claim no proprietary right, the land must be classified as private. Has it been done? No. B4 land, which is neither included in any of the other classes, B1, B2 or B3. B5 land, which is not included in either of the classes and which is suitable for disposal for any other purpose except building. So these were the classifications in B lands. So we are B3. So it is only B3 which will be privatized. Why? Because it was always private. Now Rule 9 says there will be no alteration in classification of lands where the land is subjected or is vested into the crown, that is the Queen of England, now the government of India. But land in class B4 and B5 may be transferred back to B3 by the authorities. Now, when it is transferred back to these to B3, it can only be prescribed under the conditions laid down in Rule 13 and 14. So, what are these? Can we ask a question to the department that is it that my B3 land was originally a B4 or a B5 and lately I was given this grant? That is why I am subjected to a Rule 13 and 14. So there are so many questions which we can ask in this B3. It's amazing if you read this. I presumably say we are B3, but we are not subjected to that B3 or A or any of the categories. We are third category, which are private lands. But we were subjected to B3. We were put purposely under B3. Once again, friends, we are an old grant, never converted into a new grant because we were revenue-free grants. So we need to understand this suffix and subject of mind which I speak in the last. Thank you. Good day.